A lot of candidates come to me frustrated. They say, I speak English every day. I have conversations. I watch TV shows in English. So why is my speaking score still 6.5? If you sound fluent in English but you keep missing band 7 in IELTS speaking, this video is for you. Hey everyone, Hassan here from ESL Fluency. The answer to the question I just shared is almost never what test takers think it is. Fluency is not the same as a high score. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why. And more importantly, which part of your speaking is quietly keeping you below band 7. Before we get into the criteria, there is one thing I need to say upfront because it affects everything. Examiners can detect memorized answers very easily. If an answer sounds pre-learned, if it doesn't go with the rest of your sentences, that affects your score, even if it sounds impressive on the surface. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine the examiner asks, who uses technology more, older people or younger people? A natural answer might sound like this. Probably younger people because they grew up with this technology. It is part of their daily life. A memorized answer often sounds like this. Um, in this fast-paced world, with the rapid development of technology and the rest of the sentence, did you hear the difference? The second answer did not actually respond to the question. It launched into a prepared opener, and an examiner will notice it immediately. The speaking test is a conversation. The examiner wants to hear you think and respond, not perform. Keep that in mind as we go through the criteria. The first criterion is fluency and coherence. And this is where a lot of candidates overestimate themselves. You might feel fluent, but the question is, how does your speaking actually sound to a trained listener? Here is what weakens fluency at band 7. Overusing connectors and fillers. Words like basically, actually, like, if used repeatedly, these do not add fluency. They signal that the speaker is searching for what to say next. And when they appear throughout the answer, the examiner notices. Word searching is more visible than candidates realize. Sometimes a candidate thinks they are pausing naturally, but the difficulty is noticeable. And if the difficulty is noticeable throughout the answer, that pulls down the score. Some candidates think quickly because they think speed equals fluency. It does not. Speaking too fast without control creates a different kind of problem, which we will come back to in pronunciation. Next is circling the same idea instead of moving forward. If an answer keeps returning to the same point with slightly different words, rather than developing and progressing, that weakens both fluency and coherence. In short, if the answer does not come out with relative ease and the difficulty is noticeable throughout, that pulls down your fluency score. The second criterion is lexical resource. And for fluent candidates, this is often where the real problem is hiding. It is usually not a lack of vocabulary. Most fluent candidates have enough words. The issue is accuracy and flexibility. Here is what I see regularly. Candidates who take risks with words cannot control. They use a word because it sounds advanced but the collocation is wrong or the context is slightly off. And that kind of repeated inaccuracy affects the lexical resource score. And now we come to overused idiomatic expressions. Phrases like hustle and bustle or burning the midnight oil, these have been on every IELTS preparation list for years. Examiners have heard them thousands of times. When they appear, they signal memorization, not natural language use. And finally, safe repetitive vocabulary. Some people use the same words and phrases throughout the answer because they feel comfortable, without showing range or flexibility. Another classic band 6. Grammatical range and accuracy. A candidate can sound quite comfortable speaking, quite confident, and still have a grammar score that is pulling everything down. The issue at band 6 is usually not one or two mistakes. It is repeated error patterns, errors that come back again and again throughout the answer. The most common ones I see are these: missing the third person S, he speak instead of speaks. Problems with articles, missing the or a in places where they are needed. Mistakes with plurals, errors with present perfect and future forms. Individually, any of these might seem minor, but when they appear repeatedly, they become a pattern. And a pattern of errors signals weak grammatical control, not just a slip. There is also what I call instability under pressure. A candidate may produce accurate grammar in simple sentences, but when they attempt something more complex, a longer idea, a more complicated structure, the accuracy breaks down. That inconsistency keeps the score at 6. And now, pronunciation. And I want to be clear about what this criterion actually measures. It is not about having a native accent. Accent is not directly rated in IELTS speaking. It is not about sounding British or American. It is about how easy you are to follow. Here is what actually causes pronunciation problems at this level: speaking too fast with weak rhythm and intonation. When the rhythm is off, when the stress patterns are wrong, the listener has to work harder to follow. That is what the examiner is assessing. Another problem is phoneme substitution. For example, confusing the v and w sounds. So instead of vehicle, a candidate says vehicle. Instead of visit, visit. These are small but repeated throughout your test and they affect your intelligibility, which means ease of understanding. And then there is extra syllable addition, which is one of the most common and least noticed pronunciation problem. For example, the word played. The pronunciation is played, one syllable, but many candidates say played, adding an extra syllable at the end. None of these are about accent, they are about specific patterns. But the good news is, specific patterns can be fixed. Here is something that many candidates do not realize until it is too late. You do not need every part of your speaking to be weak to miss band 7. If your fluency is strong but your grammar keeps slipping, that can keep you at 6.5. If your vocabulary range is good but your collocations are consistently off, that can keep you at 6.5. If your answers are well developed but your pronunciation rhythm makes you harder to follow, that can keep you at 6.5 as well. One weaker criterion quietly pulls the score down. And the frustrating part is candidates often do not know which one it is. So, What do many candidates usually do when their speaking score is stuck? They think they need more confidence, more speaking practice, more advanced vocabulary, more memorized answers. But often, what they actually need is more ease, not more speed, better lexical resource, not more words, fewer repeated errors, not more complex attempts, better rhythm and pronunciation control, and stronger responsiveness, not better memorization. More practice without the right diagnosis usually means repeating the same 6.5 performance again and again. The fastest way to improve the score is to find out which criterion is holding you back and work on those specifically. If you're watching this and thinking, I am not sure which of these is my problem, that is exactly what a speaking diagnostic test is for. Here is how it works. We do a live mock test together, a real IELTS format speaking test. Straight after, I give you immediate feedback on what I heard. And then, within 48 hours, you receive a detailed written feedback report with timestamps. So you can go back and listen to the exact moments and hear the problems yourself. No guessing, no generic advice, just a clear picture of what is actually keeping your score below band 7 and what to fix. The link to the mock test is in the description. If you have any questions about whether this is right for you, leave them in the comment section and I will answer them all. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you in the next one.